Well, we're back, and we're going to talk about an area that's difficult. A lot of stories overlap. If anyone who has known us, we are not talking about any particular story, any particular person. There's many stories that are similar,
Right.
that overlapped, because the methods to groom the children,
Yeah.
to that it's a horrible thing to think, but that's common. Everyone's an individual and unique and special, but the methods and some of the ways it's done are kind of universal.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about the long-term abuse, and this is probably where I heard the most heart-wrenching, well, how come I let it go on? How come I didn't stop it? How it went on for years. I must have liked it. I must have asked for it.
It's my fault.
It's my fault. My body reacted. It felt good, but I was sick about it. Or it felt good, and then years later, I realized it was wrong.
Right.
Many children, whether it's children experimenting with each other, or slightly older children, or it's children with full, with uncles and fathers, stepfathers, whatever, even mothers, babysitters, women, whatever. But there's an innocence that they take advantage of.
Yeah.
Certain kids are more precocious than others. That does not mean it's anybody's fault. Sometimes the proximity is small.
Mm-hmm.
You're in a small house together.
Yep.
There could be a divorce, and another father figure might step in and feel like he's rescuing us, taking care of us, and that is being taken advantage of by the child.
Mm-hmm.
The adult will take advantage of that authority.
Yep. Yeah.
I think so we're talking about grooming and power. So
Oh yeah.
yeah.
So with any kind of abuse, especially sexual abuse, well, maybe not only that, I think any kind of abuse, whether it's psychological,
Sure.
physical, sexual,
Yeah.
I mean, it's always this power over. So somebody is dominating over another person. They're doing a power.
And it doesn't
move on.
have to look mean or hard or ugly. It could look loving. It could look friendly. It could look.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
where, we're going to play doctor, or we're going to play house, or,
Because it can be.
But it's still power.
Yeah, because it still is power, because some of it, what you're saying is, some of it can be overt, that they're going to do something.
Right.
Some of it could be very subtle, and that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, because it's the subtle, it's the wooing, the attention that the child is getting,
Yeah.
feeling special, because they'll say certain things like that, that they're special.
Sometimes that wooing, or that what appears to be caregiving can be turned around, because it's the person who's been abused, their guard is dropped. So that's another facet of this.
But I guess my main point here is, and this is for all the videos, it's not your fault.
Mm-hmm.
It's not your fault. So whether your body responded, and that's another thing we were going to talk about, is that, your body responds, and then they get, you must have liked it, or you wanted it, or you find yourself lonely and literally going to that person.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's where I think the whole confusion and many times a young girl is all of a sudden around 12 or 13, the abuse stops, because she doesn't realize it, but the perpetrator does, that they're about to get their period, they could possibly become pregnant. And so all of a sudden the abuse stops, and the young girl is left with this sense of loss, as sad as that sounds, or rejection,
probably,
or abandonment,
rejection, abandonment,
and confusion. And this is where this just anger can come up, and so
But I like what you said, it's not your fault. So it's really important that people look that these things have happened. You were taken advantage of. There was this power over. There was maybe a subtle wooing. Whatever happened, or maybe it was just a sudden, and that's part of the trauma too. Is like there's sudden power over and
yeah, and sometimes there's long-term like that too.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
somebody's beat. Like, no, this was wrong.
Yeah.
This was wrong. And so again, we encourage you to
Entering into some healing work.
entering into some healing, and certainly if it's ongoing current, every state is different about how that's reported, or certain people you tell are court mandated to.
Yeah, well, if a younger person is watching this and something's going on, like we're always telling people is tell somebody in authority, let somebody know. So teachers are mandated reporters, nurses, doctors, counselors, church pastors. One of the things I do is working with people is if they want to do something about it, you can work with them on that to take some action. There's a number of different ways to address this. So there is help. There are people who want to help.
Yes, you're not
That's for
alone.
sure.
Again,
Yeah,
you're not alone. It's not your fault.